I left a bunch of bananas on my counter for 26 days. No fridge, no special bags. When I peeled one, it still snapped. That yellow banana on your counter is quietly plotting its own rot. The second it was cut from the tree, it started breathing out an invisible gas. And that gas is a countdown. 1 cent and a strip of foil can pause the clock and keep a bunch firm for weeks. Most folks figure you either eat them fast or watch them go to mush. My neighbor Clara didn't want to believe that. Last summer, she spent $9 on those special green ripening bags from the general store, hoping to save herself a few nickels down the road. 3 days. That's all they lasted. The bags trapped the moisture against the stems and rotted them from the crown down. But get the temperature right. Add one thing already in your kitchen, and you can stop the ripening cold without spending a dime. And there's one step nearly everybody does backwards. Get that one wrong, and the trick rots them faster than doing nothing. Let me show you. Here's the whole secret in one sentence. It's not the fruit that spoils first. It's the stem. Seal the stem, and you've won half the battle. The other half is where almost everyone slips up. But to see why it works, I've got to take you back to a dock in Alabama, 1932. Now listen. Down where I grew up, we had no air conditioning to keep food from turning on a hot afternoon. My granddaddy worked the mobile banana docks in 1932 at the foot of Dauphin Street, hauling 80-pound stems off the white ships of the Great White Fleet. He carried a stick, and he watched those fruit hands close. Tropical spiders the size of your palm liked to nest deep inside them, and they rode north for free. 30-some years earlier, in 1895, a young immigrant named Sam Zemurray showed up at those same docks with $150 to his name, and he saw something nobody else was looking at. Down on the pier, workers were pitching perfectly good bananas into the sea, the freckled, spotty ones. The traders called them ripes. Too far gone, they said, to survive the train ride to market. Sam saw money floating in the water. He bought those ripes for almost nothing, rented a boxcar, and paid the telegraph men a cut to wire ahead. Ripe bananas coming. Be ready. He rode inside the cold car with the fruit and sold it out the door as the train rolled in. By his early 20s, he'd built a fortune out of the fruit everybody else threw away. My granddaddy used to say Zemurray beat the one thing nobody else could, the ripening clock. And that same trick fed a lot of families when the Depression came. The clock Zemurray learned to beat is sitting in your kitchen right now. You just have to know where the fruit hides it. So here's why it ticks so fast. A banana ripens itself. Once it's cut from the plant, it starts pumping out a gas called ethylene, its own ripening signal. And that gas pools right at the crown, where the fingers join the stem. Keep the bunch tight, and the gas has nowhere to go. It builds up in the pockets between the fruit, and each banana sits there gassing its neighbors. That's when the damage starts. Enzymes break down the firm flesh, the starch flips to sugar, and the green pigment falls apart. Firm and green one morning, soft and speckled by supper. I tried hanging my bunches on a hook by the old potting bench, looked tidy, did nothing. I finally slid a thermometer up under a hanging bunch, and the crown ran warm and stayed warm. The gas and the heat both trapped in that little pocket beneath the stem, cooking the fruit from the top down. My worst mistake was the refrigerator. I threw a bunch of green bananas straight in, and they came out gray. Bananas hate real cold. Drop them below about 56 degrees, and they take what's called chilling injury. The cell walls turn to a stiff gel, the cells rupture, and the skin goes a dull, bruised gray. My sister learned it the hard way in her cold cellar around 45 degrees, 2 full bunches gray overnight. The inside goes mealy and loses every bit of its sweetness before you can take a bite. So we stop fighting the fruit and start working with the way it breathes. I had my doubts the first time. The bananas made a believer out of me. First, you separate them, and this is the step everybody does backwards. Don't yank them apart. Ripping them tears the vascular bundles inside the crown and leaves raw wounds, an open door for black rot. Instead, take a clean knife and make one slice through the core of the crown. Leave the dry little cap on each stem alone. That's the banana's own seal. Pick it off, and the fruit bleeds moisture and shrivels in a couple of days. Now each banana is on its own, no longer gassing the whole bunch. That alone buys you days. Next, you plug the leak. The stem is where nearly all the gas escapes, so you seal it. Tear off a small piece of ordinary kitchen plastic wrap, stretch it tight, and wind it snug around each cut stem. 2 or 3 overlapping passes. That thin film is just porous enough to let the banana breathe a little without letting the rot set in. If your kitchen runs hot in summer, over 72 degrees, skip the plastic and use aluminum foil. Foil seals the stem and doubles as a heat shield, keeping that crown cool where it counts. Now, the temperature. The cargo ships that carry these things hold their cargo between 56 and 58 degrees. Cool enough to pause ripening, warm enough to dodge that gray, chilling injury. You can build the same thing with no electricity at all. The old-timers called it a zier pot. Set a small unglazed clay pot inside a bigger one and pack wet sand in the gap. As the water wicks through the clay and evaporates, it pulls the heat out of the inner chamber and keeps the air moist so the fruit never dries out. No clay pots? Tuck your wrapped bananas in a dark pantry under a damp cotton dish towel. Same idea. Poor man's version. Last thing. Keep them away from the fruit bowl. Apples, peaches, avocados all breathe out their own ethylene, and bananas are the most sensitive thing in the kitchen. Give yours a couple inches of room on a wire rack so the air can carry off any stray gas before browning can start. Set that little defense up on your counter, and you'll be eating firm yellow bananas 2 weeks out. Run the clay pot cooler, and green ones hold near a month before the first brown freckle shows. Back in the Depression, wasting food was a sin, and my granddaddy raised me never to throw out a banana. If a few slip past ripe on you, don't toss them. Peel them, cut them into thick coins, and freeze them in a tub. The cold stops the browning dead and locks in the sweetness. Ready for banana bread or a smoothie on a morning you're running late. That bunch that lasted 26 days, that's how. No fridge, no bags, not a dime spent, nothing wasted, just the way the old folks did it.